and all the rest of it. And Donald Trump, in fairness, recognized. I mean, I weep for Kate Steinle's parents tonight. I do not know how I could go on living in that city if, God forbid, my daughter were to be shot by someone who should never have been in the country in the first place, and is actually being protected by the entire bureaucracy, political, media class of the country at the expense of American citizens.
That's exactly right. Really quickly, it's hard to imagine now, but 2 years ago when this happened, the behavior of the city of San Francisco, allowing this guy to go free in the face of requests from the feds to hold him, that was denounced by Hillary Clinton in the middle of the presidential race. Things have changed so much in 2 years in the Democratic Party. I wonder how many Democratic office holders will criticize his verdict tomorrow.
Yeah, and if you remember, Bernie Sanders championed American citizens and American workers. It's not going to be that way in the 2020 campaign. They've moved just in 2 years.
Pretty stunning. Mark Stein, thank you for that perspective.
Thanks, Tucker.
We'll have more on the Steinle case and the remarkable and, in fact, nauseating verdict throughout the hour. Tomorrow, 8 a.m., Fox and Friends will have our first reaction out of the White House. Kellyanne Conway with that. Now to tonight's other big stories. Disturbing details about the culture at NBC News continue to come out following yesterday's surprise firing of Matt Lauer, the longtime host of the Today Show. In the wake of his firing, NBC head Andrew Lack released a statement saying that the sexual harassment complaint against Lauer was, quote, the first complaint about his behavior in the over 20 years he's been at NBC. But now other reports say that is false. It's a lie. A detailed investigation published yesterday by Variety says multiple women indeed complained to NBC News executives about Lauer's behavior over the years, but they were ignored. Raman Satuda and Elizabeth Wegmeister wrote the Variety story, the often quoted one, and they join us tonight. So, Elizabeth, first to you. The statements from NBC changed. It was noted a lot today. The statements yesterday, the first one said, there have been no complaints that we're aware of, and the second one said that current management has been aware of. Is that a significant change, and what would account for that?
That's actually what we had been hearing consistently when we were reporting this, that they kept saying at NBC, the current management, the current regime. Ramin and I, as we reported this story, we spoke to many different sources, many different women who have been there for ranging years of Lauer's career. So we have spoken to women that were there from the current, regime and the old regime. So with NBC saying that they were only aware of one claim, to us, really, whether it's the current or the old regime doesn't really matter, because we had heard that there were multiple claims.
Yeah, and I mean, so far you have the definitive account, I think, that I've seen of what was going on there. So, Ramin, why haven't we heard directly from Andy Lack or Noah Oppenheim, who's the head of the news division, on this, to publicly clarify, to sit down and explain what they knew?
I think that's a fair question to ask as a journalist, and I think that as two reporters that have been covering this story pretty aggressively, we would like to interview either of them. So if either of them would like to sit down with us to talk about the statement that was put out yesterday and the use of the words current executives, that would be great. And current management,
you'd like to interview them, of course, so would I. But I'd also think, since you have the biggest repository we know of information on the subject, they'd want to interview you, too, for their internal investigation. Have they called you?
They have not. And, Tucker, going back to that use of the word current management, according to our discussions with NBC, they are actually defining that in a very narrow circle of only a few people. And so, according to our reporting, there are people that work at the Today Show, staffers, producers, anchors, current and previous anchors of the Today Show that were aware that there had been complaints about Matt Lauer's alleged conduct toward women that made women uncomfortable and where he sexually harassed women that he worked with.
Yeah, I mean, I think your piece nails that. I mean, it's really clear in reading it that you have the goods in that. What's interesting, though, this is, by my count, the third event at NBC and NBC News where we were supposed to get some kind of internal investigation on the results. You first had the leaking of the Access Hollywood tape during the last campaign, and then the question of, why did Andy Lack and Noah Oppenheim squelch the Harvey Weinstein story? And we haven't really gotten a straight answer on either one of those, or have we? Have I missed it?
No, we don't have an answer on either one of those.
Do you expect that we're going to get a clear accounting in this case?
I think that we may not get a clear account unless unless staffers start to talk about what's going on. I think it's important, and there are questions about if the Ronan Farrow story didn't air because of these allegations. There are questions about what NBC staffers knew at what time. There are questions about why this conduct was allowed to go on for so long. And these are all things that we're reporting.
What we will say too is we have had, since our story is posted, we have had many more people reach out to us and encourage us to continue to look into not just Matt Lauer, but NBC as a whole. And of course, we are going to be doing that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who work there, and some of them are good people, and they're horrified by this. Elizabeth, just sum up quickly the tone of the conversations that you're having with NBC employees now.
The conversations that we are having with NBC employees, is that what you said? Yeah,
what's their view of this? It looks from your reporting like the network covered up abuse that was going on for an awfully long time. How do people who work there feel about that?
People are really shocked right now. I mean, when Matt Lauer was fired yesterday, we spoke to many sources. We're not going to say if we spoke to people, you know, currently within NBC or former NBC employees, but people were really shocked that he was fired because of the power that he held there. They really never thought that he would go away, and of course with that comes the people that would be protecting Matt Lauer, who would be his bosses. So people there are really shocked, and I think that they're also waiting for answers, as Ramin said.
Yeah, I mean, it's relatively easy to fire Matt Lauer. It's the executives who protected him, I think, might be more interesting. Ramin, Elizabeth, thank you. Great reporting.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you,
a public service. Matt Lauer's firing was a surprise, but somebody here at Fox said months ago there were predators lurking over there. She joins us next.
Tucker Carlson is brought to you by Alka-Seltzer Plus Maximum Strength Liquid Gels. When you have a cold, stuff happens. Shut down cold symptoms fast with Maximum Strength Alka-Seltzer Plus Liquid Gels.
Tired of sore throat lozenges that only last a short time? Try new Alka-Seltzer Plus Sore Throat Relief. The melts dissolve quickly. Plus, the powerful pain reliever provides long-lasting relief for up to 6 hours. Try new Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Are you done yet?
Does it look like I'm done?
Shouldn't you be at work?
Todd. Hold on.
Your real bike's all fixed.
Man, you guys are good.
Well, we are the #1 motorcycle insurer in the country.
Wait, you have a real motorcycle?
And real insurance with 24-hour customer support.
Well, I retire as champion.
Game hog.
Champion.
I'm Jillian, and I have a confession to make. I may have been a little tough in my past. Down! Up! Go! Go! But now I've found my bubbly side with SodaStream, the effortless way to stop addiction to sugary soda. Just slip in a bottle of regular tap water, a quick push, and in seconds, plain boring water is sparkling. Add a little fruit drop flavor, and boom, a sparkling treat you'll want to drink. With soda, with SodaStream.
Available at GetSodaStream.com or at these fine retailers.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire. Fox News Channel on Sirius XM. Your favorite shows on Channel 114. Plus, every story, every 15 minutes. Fox News headlines 24/7 at Channel 115.
From the time I was like 9 years old until I was probably 14, the majority of that time was spent in an orthodontist office, which is the most awkward point of anyone's life to begin with. I was right out of college and I was starting job interviews and meeting a bunch of new people, and I already noticed that my teeth were starting to shift. My parents spent all that money and it was kind of all for a waste. So when I heard of Smile Direct, I was so excited.
At Smile Direct Club, we believe everyone deserves a smile they'll love. That's why for 60% less than braces, we send invisible aligners directly to you. We straighten most smiles in an average of 6 months.
I was so excited to know that there was a company that was #1 affordable and #2 so convenient. convenient. You don't have to go to an orthodontist every month. You can go into a smile shop. They also have a kit that they can ship directly to your house. There's really no excuse to not try it.
Get your confidence back risk-free. Our Smile Guarantee ensures that if aligners aren't a good fit for you, you get your money back.
Having straight teeth is such a great feeling.
Get started at SmileDirectClub.com for as low as $87 a month.
Matt Lauer's firing the other day surprised most people, but not everyone. Melissa Francis co-hosts Fox's After the Bell, which is a great show. All the way back in April of this year, she said several television networks were full of sexual predators and that managers knew exactly who those predators were. Melissa Francis has been in TV a long time, so she would know. She joins us tonight. Not that long, but
yeah,
long
careful,
enough to
careful,
know.
Tucker. Yeah.
So you said, I remember exactly when you said this.
Yeah.
Just restate what you said and explain why you said it.
So I had the bad fortune of going out to promote my book, Lessons from the Prairie, the day after Bill O'Reilly was fired from our network. So when I went to other networks to do the tour, and Hoda and Kathy Lee were kind enough to have me on their morning show, one of the questions everyone asked me, which is fair, we would do the same thing, they said to me, what the heck is going on over at Fox? And I said, you know, we're going through a period, it's really painful, you know, and we're embarrassed by what's going on and we're working on it, but I have something to tell you. Why you're throwing stones at us and saying, is this part of the Fox culture? What does it have to do with what's going on over here? I think you know that your network is full of predators as well, as are all of them. These people exist at every single network, and I could tell you who they are, and I bet you know who they are. And, you know, I said this to a lot of different news outlets as I went out there. And, you know, at the time, I have to say, when I was at NBC, you know, I had colleagues who I knew of who were assaulted by people sexually. And, you know, one woman who was a friend of mine came to me in tears, and I said, you need to go report this. I've seen you in tears after this incident. I would be happy to support you. And she said, I don't think they'll do anything about it. And I said, well, call Gloria Allred. We're in the media. You know, have a news conference, stand out there on the street corner. And this woman in particular, who I have a ton of respect for, said, and I'll never work in this industry again. And I've worked really hard to get to this point, and I don't want to throw away my whole career. And there were others who were assaulted and who were harassed. And those people, some are still at NBC, and others have gone on to the other big networks.
What about the people who committed these acts?
Those are the people,
and they're still at NBC,
and the other networks. I mean, I want to be clear. It's not an NBC problem. It's not a Fox problem.
No, that's right.
It's a world. I think we're learning. It's not about any political persuasion. It's not about a network. It's not about. I mean, this is one of our makeup artists said. You know, this is happening at the post office. This is happening at the, you know, sanitation department. It's everywhere, but people are paying attention to it in certain industries because it's more interesting. But I would say this. The people who committed these acts still work at these networks. And these women have been afraid to come forward. They need to know that they can. My husband said to me at the time, why haven't more women come out at other networks? And I said, I don't know. I hope it comes to that. I hope they feel like they'll be heard and they come out. But those men still work there. And I think I'm sure their names are come out. It's not my place to name them because I wasn't the one assaulted.
No, I'm fully aware of what you're talking about. Melissa, thank you. Thank you for that. That was prescient, to put it mildly.
Thank you.
Well, one of the people happiest about Matt Lauer's departure could be Hillary Clinton and her supporters. Weirdly, we'll explain why in just a minute.
COPD makes it hard to breathe. So to breathe better, I go with a Noro.
COPD tries to say go this way. I say I'll go my own way with a Noro.
Once Daily Anoro contains two medicines called bronchodilators that work together to significantly improve lung function all day and all night. Anoro is not for asthma. It contains a type of medicine that increases risk of death in people with asthma. The risk is unknown in COPD. Anoro won't replace rescue inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be used more than once a day. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition, high blood pressure, glaucoma, prostate, bladder, or urinary problems. These may worsen with Anoro. Call your doctor if you have worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain while taking Anoro.
Ask your doctor about Anoro.
Get your first prescription free at Anoro.com.
Okay, so let's
Stop. Don't mess it up.
For those who know what they're really building, always unstoppable.
Guess what I just got? Hello, Dad. That's a big phone. Oh, my phone.
You built a flame that warmed my heart, but your lying and cheating has torn us apart. And I'm moving on.
You might take something for your heart or joints, but do you take something for your brain? With an ingredient originally found in jellyfish, Prevagen is the #1 selling brain health supplement in drugstores nationwide. Prevagen, the name to remember.
I do quite a bit of holiday shopping, and I use Ebates for all of it.
I earn cash back just by doing the shopping I was going to do anyway.
I use that cash back to buy more gifts, or actually a gift for myself.
Join today and get a $10 bonus at ebates.com.
Honey, I think I heard something.
Okay. From Christmas tree mats to floor liners, cargo liners, and over 100 other premium products, WeatherTech has the perfect holiday gift.
Honey, is everything okay?
Oh, yeah.
Order at WeatherTech.com. Happy holidays from WeatherTech.
I don't believe in love at first sight, but Hulu sure gives me a lot to look at. Past seasons, new seasons, only here seasons, but you can't watch everything. Ooh, Fargo. Or can you?
With Advil's fast relief, you'll ask, what pulled muscle? What headache? Nothing works faster to make pain a distant memory. Advil Liquid Gels and Advil Liquid Gels Minis. What pain?
This is a Fox News alert. An illegal alien deported 5 times has been found not guilty in the murder of Kate Steinle. Jose Zarate shot and killed Steinle. That's beyond dispute. As she walked with her father on a San Francisco pier, she died in her father's arms. After 6 days of deliberations, though, a jury found Zarate guilty only of illegally possessing a firearm, acquitting him on a number of murder and manslaughter charges. Inexplicably, we're tracking the president on Twitter for his reaction. We'll continue to follow the aftermath of this verdict, because there will be one. Well, it's easy to see the big winner in the downfall of Matt Lauer. It's Hillary Clinton. What? In 2016, Lauer moderated the Commander-in-Chief Forum, in which he held separate half-hour interviews with then-candidates Clinton and Trump. According to Clinton supporters, Lauer was too easy on Trump and far too tough on Hillary Clinton.
You were communicating on highly sensitive topics. Why wasn't it more than a mistake? Why wasn't it disqualifying if you want to be Commander-in-Chief? Were some of the emails sent or received by you referring to our drone program, our covert drone program? Some of the emails you sent and received happened while you were overseas, and Director Comey also said that while they have no proof, we assess that it is possible that hostile actors gained access to Secretary Clinton's personal email accounts.
Look at how much she hates him in that tape. It's visible. In her book, What Happened, Clinton herself says she, quote, fantasized about attacking Lauer because of his alleged bias. Perhaps his firing is a serviceable substitute. Philippe Brains is a former Hillary Clinton spokesman and a longtime advisor to her, and he joins us tonight. Philippe, thanks for coming on.
No, thank you, Tucker.
So, I'm trying to, I remember I watched that when it happened, and I thought, you know, if I, who obviously disagrees with Hillary Clinton on everything, had asked her those questions, I doubt she would have been half as offended. I always thought she was mad at Matt Lauer because he was supposed to be part of the group. Like, he's a fellow liberal. He works at NBC, and he had the temerity to ask her hard questions. That was the sin.
I don't think so. You know, they have a history going back a long way, so I think it was on his show that she blamed the vast right-wing conspiracy that I'm sitting in the middle of.
Never forget it.
And I think she was braced for a tough interview, and she's not upset, and she wasn't upset that her interview was tough. what was unnerving and baffling to us was the disparity between her half hour and the next half hour. And I think, in hindsight, you called it finally we won. I wouldn't put it that way, but it is a little clearer than it was a year ago.
So part of it, I would say, having interviewed President Trump a number of times, he's a tough interview. It's hard. It's hard to interview President Trump. Many people have had that experience. Maybe that was part of it. It's hard to believe, though, that Matt Lauer went soft on Donald Trump because he's somehow like a secret right-winger.
No, I don't think that's what it is at all. I think there are a couple of things at play. First, I think you have a lot of people in the media who have since all but acknowledged that they thought Hillary Clinton would be president, and therefore she needed to be vetted harder. Right. And yes, I've seen a lot of tape of President Trump. I had the misfortune or fortune of playing him in debate prep. And yes, he's an expert in avoiding the answers, but that doesn't excuse not asking tough questions. So when he looks at then Mr. Trump and says, so tell me, how are you going to get ready to be president if you win? That's a little bit of a softball as opposed to, well, what do you say to people who say you don't have any experience and you're not ready? And again, it's not that she wanted an easy interview. I mean, the woman goes through life with tough interviews. It's you want a little bit of balance.
So I just see a theme here that I've seen, I don't know, since I covered the 92 campaign 25 years ago, where Hillary Clinton simultaneously bills herself as the toughest human being in the world and plays the victim at exactly the same time. They're being mean to me. It's biased. They don't like me because I'm a woman. They don't like me because my husband. They don't like me because they're right wing. Why always the excuses and complaints?
I don't think they're excuses and complaints. I think they are observations. We might not be 100% right when we say these things, but we're not 100% wrong. Let's just assume that we're right about these criticisms every now and then, and we're not crazy people. And I think this is a great example of a time that is very hard to say that there wasn't a very odd disparity. I don't think his colleagues or his network would take any issue with that.
Right. I mean, I think what's
true. And the rest of what you'd call the liberal media also hammered.
Well, they never liked Hillary Clinton. I mean, they loved her positions on abortion.
But they hammered Matt Lauer.
They're all committed, obviously, to abortion and immigration and all the things. They agree with her on all that. But they never liked her personally, and she never treated them well, to be honest. And you were part of that. I would say, yelling at reporters and
stuff. I've always been a pussycat.
Yes, right. But again, it gets back to the point. Do genuinely strong people complain about unfair coverage constantly?
Well, I mean, this is not exactly the question you're asking, but I think given the news, that's an interesting question, because talking to someone like Matt Lauer with what we know now in hindsight, he might not exactly enjoy talking to strong women who are going to push back. He seems to be a little bit more used to...
Oh, come on! The strong... But if she's so strong, why is she always whining about bias?
She's not whining. Is there bias? Is there no bias in the world?
There's tons of bias.
Is there no harassment in the world?
There's tons of bias in the world.
Well, some of it comes her way every now and then.
But if I taught my children to feel as persecuted as Hillary Clinton clearly feels, they'd be on the psychiatrist's couch. You know what I mean?
Well, she herself said sometimes she thinks she should be on the psychiatrist's couch, and she opted for Chardonnay instead. But it is a baffling... look back at that.
It's interesting, and the response is interesting. Philippe, thank you for that.
No, thank you for having me.
Good to see you. Well, you probably heard about the videos that the president retweeted. Did you know the woman who shared them could go to prison for her views? What happened to free speech? We'll tell you next.
I can do more to lower my A1C.
Because my body can still make its own insulin.
And I take Trulicity once a week to activate my body to release it, like it's supposed to. Trulicity is not insulin. It comes in a once-weekly, truly easy-to-use pen. The pen where you don't have to see or handle a needle. And it works 24/7.
Trulicity is a once-weekly injectable medicine to improve blood sugar in adults with type 2 diabetes when used with diet and exercise. It should not be the first medicine to treat diabetes or for people with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis. Do not take Trulicity if you have a personal or family history of medullary thyroid cancer, if you have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, or if you're allergic to Trulicity. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or symptoms like itching, rash, or trouble breathing. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with a sulfonylurea or insulin increases your risk for low blood sugar. Common side effects include nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, decreased appetite, and indigestion. Some side effects can lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems.
To help lower my A1C, I choose Trulicity to activate my within. Ask your doctor if once-weekly Trulicity is right for you.
The very first time I met Bruce, I saw on his lapel he's got a Purple Heart.
We started talking about the service. I outrank him.
Yeah. Meals on Wheels reaches so many people. It's impactful beyond anything I've ever done in my life.
The meals and his friendship really means a lot to me.
Through the Subaru Share the Love event, we've helped deliver over 1.7 million meals to those in need. Get a new Subaru and we'll donate $250 more.
Put a little love in your heart.
Your modern software factory runs millions of lines of code through trillions of connections. You think I'm dramatizing? Think again. Application security, each line a potential breach. That's why checking code before you deploy isn't enough. You have to check it continuously.
I do?
Yep, you do. When your app's in here, and when it's out here. I know, you can't be in a trillion places at once, but we can.
If you're concerned about your heart health, or know someone who is, then you should get KardioMobile by AliveCor, the only FDA-cleared medical-grade personal EKG device that analyzes your heart rhythm in just 30 seconds and lets you send results directly to your doctor.
Atrial fibrillation is an abnormal heart rhythm that can lead to stroke. By using the KardioMobile device, we can detect atrial fibrillation.
When you feel a symptom and you feel like your heart's acting up, taking the EKG immediately and getting that reading that's normal is a huge peace of mind.
When Barry uses his KardioMobile, it gives us the peace of mind that he's okay, gives us the freedom to travel and to move on and live our life.
I went through many years where my first instinct was to go to the ER. This is my first go-to. This is my first line of defense in getting, information to my doctor.
KardioMobile puts peace of mind in your pocket for only $99. And for a limited time, get a free carry pod with purchase. To order, visit KardioMobile.com.
Wayfair, you got just what I need. It's the feeling of done and done. It's so much fun. Easy as a click, and done comes quick. It can even look crazy. That's fun and done, baby. Get a deal tons, or fancy looks fun. Just kick back, relax. With Wayfair, you're done. You know the feeling, yeah, that's the one. It's the feeling of done and done. It's so
this holiday, bring home the feeling at Wayfair.com.
President Trump enraged coastal America yesterday when he retweeted 3 videos being circulated by a woman called Jada Franson, deputy leader of Britain First. It's a nationalist group in the UK. Trump was criticized also by the British Prime Minister, Theresa May. The press in both countries declared him a fascist or worse.
This morning, the president started his day by promoting anti-Muslim fascist propaganda, retweeting videos posted by the leader of a British hate group called Britain First.
Jada Franson. She is known in the UK for spreading anti-Muslim and racist videos.
There's so many levels of this that are so ridiculous. The president retweeting someone who was arrested, a hate speech person.
Today, the president of the United States once again embraced the message of racist, bigoted bullies.
Subtle. Of course, there's nothing actually fascist about retweeting a video, but there is creeping fascism out there. It's the steady death of free speech in the West. Jada Franson has repeatedly been punished by British authorities for saying what she thinks out loud. That used to be legal. She's been banned from at least one English city for handing out anti-Islamic literature there on the grounds that her opinion caused, quote, community tension. She's been banned from any mosque in England or Wales for 3 years. She was fined more than $2,000 for saying that Muslim men commit high numbers of rape in the West. Recently, she was arrested for a speech she gave in Belfast in August. It's possible she could face charges and prison time for speaking. Just to be clear, none of that behavior was violent. Franson is being targeted by authorities because her views are unpopular. Now, you'd think this would horrify reporters here in the U.S. You'd think they would have an interest in defending free speech, but no. Instead, as you just heard, they are citing her arrest as evidence that her views ought to be suppressed. She is, quote, a hate speech person. She ought to shut up and disappear. guardians of the First Amendment cheering on its destruction. That is terrifying, but it's not confined to Britain. Throughout the UK and Western Europe, and in Canada too, by the way, citizens have been arrested for expressing political views the authorities don't like. You didn't think that could happen, but it is happening. Last June, for example, we could give you many, German police raided dozens of homes in a coordinated effort to stamp out offensive posts on social media. The civilization that gave us free speech, the West, has suspended the concept because it conflicts with the diversity agenda. That seems like maybe the real story here. Qasim Rashid is national spokesman for the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community USA, and he joins us tonight. Mr. Rashid, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Tucker. How are you?
So, great. So one thing I'm not going to do is get in a position to argue about the content of these videos because
it's deplorable. It's ridiculous.
You don't like them.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Whatever. Violence. It's nonsense. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're ugly, whether they're real or not. If they seem real, but look, I'm not an expert.
I mean, the president's finding a new way to embarrass himself.
Here's what I'm an expert on. I'm an expert on the legacy of Western civilization.
Sure.
And its main legacy is the freedom of speech. You get to say what you think is true, period. And that's not the case in Europe and Canada, as you know, thanks in part to pressure from Muslim groups.
No, I don't think that's true.
Well, actually, it's literally true, and it is now a crime, as you're seeing in the cases I just mentioned, to offend people. It's literally a crime in the UK to offend people, to alarm or distress. That's the Public Order Act 1994. You can go to jail for that.
Sure.
Will you support that?
I support free speech. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community, the Muslims who believe in the Messiah, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, we're a worldwide Muslim community. We're in over 200 nations worldwide. And we spread because of free speech, because of free exchange of ideas. So believe me, when I say we believe in free speech, we're not just saying it as a figure of speech. We've benefited from it on a worldwide scale. Our community members are persecuted horribly in countries like Pakistan simply because we want to express our freedom of expression.
You are drawing the right lesson from your experience.
Absolutely.
And I applaud you for that, but I wonder if you would raise a voice in defense of a woman I'm sure you despise, the woman whose videos Trump retweeted yesterday. She's facing apparently jail time for saying things the authorities don't like. Should she be facing jail for that?
Well, I think if people want to criticize Islam, by all means, go ahead. I have no problem with that. People can criticize Islam to my face, and they can do it all day and every day. That's not the issue here. The issue here is we have a situation around the world where, for example, in the United States, hate crimes are at a 20-year high against Muslims.
Right.
In a country
but is expressing dislike of a religion or of a person or of an idea.
Nothing wrong with expressing dislike.
But in Europe, that qualifies as a hate crime. I'll read you the statute.
No, I've read the statute. I know.
Yeah, there are a couple of them.
But what we saw here was a woman who claimed that these are Muslim migrants coming up and beating up a poor Dutch boy, inciting racial tensions, inciting violence. So, what I don't want to do...
Wait, hold on. So you are actually... Because I want to pin you down, and I want you to be slippery with me.
No,
so you're saying that she's inciting violence, so she is guilty of a crime.
What I'm saying is that when you promote deliberate false information against an already marginalized minority, just like somebody promoting myths about
she
Jews...
She should be charged. So you're actually not for free speech.
I'm
I almost fell
speech.
for that for a second. I'm for free speech. No, but what she's saying is here's a video of something. Maybe she's wrong in the way she describes it, but you're saying what she did is a crime.
No, what I'm saying is that when somebody promotes Nazi ideology in a country where Nazis have mass murdered millions of people, I can't defend that. Maybe you can defend that. Maybe other people can defend that.
No, but you're totally missing it. And I thought you understood the concept of free speech.
No, I do.
You don't have to endorse an idea to believe that people ought to have a right to express it.
And I think we agree on that.
Why are you accusing me of having Nazi views when I'm just defending free speech?
I don't
accuse you. So, but really quick, we're almost out of time. I just want to get to the bottom of this. Do you think this woman should face charges? Simple.
For promoting violence, yes. If it's just criticizing Islam, no. Nobody should face...
But she's not promoting violence. She's showing a video you don't like.
She's promoting Nazi ideology.
Okay, so you're not for free speech. I'm sorry. I almost fell for the I'm for free speech. Okay, so that's not allowed. All right. What you call Nazis should be banned.
I mean, I like my Jewish friends. I don't want them to be killed by Nazis.
I don't. I hate the Nazis. But people have a right to say... Not defending the Nazis. I'm defending speech. No, we're not, because you're opposed to free speech, and I'm glad I got it out of you.
I'm opposed to Nazis.
Oh, right, okay. Got it, yeah.
Interesting.
Big Nazi, okay. Up next, we'll test two top Fox News people on their knowledge of news. Final exam, next.
I no longer live with the uncertainties of Hep C, wondering, what if? I let go of all those feelings, because I am cured with Harvoni.
Harvoni is a revolutionary treatment for the most common type of chronic hepatitis C.
It's been prescribed to more than 250,000 people and is proven to cure up to 99% of patients who've had no prior treatment with 12 weeks. Certain patients can be cured with just 8 weeks of Harvoni. Before starting Harvoni, your doctor will test to see if you've ever had hepatitis B, which may flare up and cause serious liver problems during and after Harvoni treatment. Tell your doctor if you've ever had hepatitis B, a liver transplant, other liver or kidney problems, HIV, or any other medical conditions, and about all the medicines you take, including herbal supplements. Taking amiodarone with Harvoni can cause a serious slowing of your heart rate. Common side effects of Harvoni include tiredness, headache, and weakness.
Ready to let go of Hep C?
Ask your Hep C specialist about Harvoni.
This holiday, what are you going to give? Give 30 more seconds on your Peloton. Give it your best morning, noon, or night. Give it up for New York's best instructors live. Give them something to see. Give yourself 1,000 other riders to push you to the top. Give them the one thing that will make them give it all. This holiday, give the gift of Peloton. Now you can bring home the greatest gift with no money down.
Give a gift that brings the ones you love even closer with a DNA kit from 23andMe. And this holiday, get up to $50 off each kit at 23andme.com.
Facing the North Korea threat, the real danger, and crucial strategy America needs to follow, John Garamendi shares first-hand insight on Fox News at Night.
As this year comes to an end, it's time to think about how you can make a lasting difference in the lives of hurting children around the world.
It never gets easier watching children and their families suffer. The equivalent of 30 jumbo jets filled with children die every single day. I've seen what happens when the world ignores these facts and turns its back on these children. But I've also seen what can be done when we care, when we act, when we do our part to help.
UNICEF has helped save more children's lives than any other humanitarian organization. Please call or donate online at helpunicef.org with your one-time or monthly gift.
As a UNICEF field worker, I've committed my life for the survival of these children. I've seen poverty, I've seen war. We're able to vaccinate, provide clean water, nutrition, education, child protection to all the most vulnerable children of the world.
When disaster happens, UNICEF is on the ground providing emergency relief.
I think the need for children in the world today is greater than it was 70 years ago when the organization was initially established.
UNICEF works in more than 190 countries and territories around the world. Our work depends on the continued support of caring donors who stand by our side. We can't help these children without you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Keep on the good fight.
You can make a lasting difference in the life of a child. Please go online at helpunicef.org or call the number on your screen right now.
Time now for Final Exam, where two contestants chosen from our vast stable of news experts are pitted against one another to determine which of them has been paying more attention at work. This week is Final Exam Ultimate Deathmatch Edition. Contestants Shannon Bream, host of Fox News at Night, correspondent Peter Ducey. Both are undefeated in this game, if you can even call it a game. All right, you're familiar with the rules, but for our viewers, a recap. Hands on the buzzers. I'm going to ask the questions. The first one to buzz in gets to answer the question. You must wait until I finish asking the question in order to buzz in. Each correct answer is worth 1 point. Get it wrong and you lose a point. Best of 5 wins. Now, I will say, because this is the deathmatch edition, if there is a tie, which is statistically possible, I'm going to come up with a question off the top of my head. out of nowhere, extemporaneously, and throw it at you.
Not vetted by an independent
Not vetted by any authorities
or
our accountants or legal team. All right? Let's hope it doesn't get to that. Question 1. Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was under scrutiny over Thanksgiving vacation. She shared a photograph on social media of a dish she had made at home, but at least one reporter said it looked too good to be real and accused her of faking that dish. What food did she make? Shannon Breen.
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie, also known as pecan pie. To the tape we go.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders under fire this weekend after she posted a picture of this pie. She said she baked it.
Let me tell you something. She's been making this pie for years. Don't ever mess with a Southern woman and her homemade pies.
Shannon Bream. Okay, so watching the two champions next to each other, I'm starting to understand the key to this game. You are lightning fast.
Cat-like reflexes.
You have cat-like reflexes.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Also, we used to be roommates, so I know all of his secrets. I say roommates.
Thank you for the clarification. Before we get in deeper into that, question 2. Holiday flyers are furious at American Airlines, I think this country's biggest carrier. The company announced a mistake that could leave millions stranded without flights this Christmas vacation. What went wrong? Shannon Bream once again.
They did not assign pilots to the flights.
Why, that's too silly. I can't believe that's true.
Crazy, I know.
We're going to check our tape archive just to find out.
Let's do it.
The software glitch was in the system handling scheduling for American Airlines' 15,000 pilots, allowing too many to take vacation during the very busy Christmas travel season. More than 15,000 flights between December 17th and the 31st are at risk of being canceled.
Look at that. You're like an MLB pitcher. You're like Bruce Lee. You're so fast I didn't even see that happen.
Can I tell you that my family, we are flying on American during those dates. So when that story came out, I was laser
You probably just got an upgrade.
Luckily, my brother's a pilot. Not for American, but I'm going to see if he can fly our plane anyway. Why not? They need pilots.
You got the inside deal. Very nice. Question 3. There was some royal news out of England this week. Prince Harry is now engaged to an American actress called Meghan Markle. Prince Harry asked for her hand during a typical night at the royal cottage, if there is such a thing. What were they doing when he asked her to marry him? Again, Shannon Bream.
They were eating roast chicken.
That doesn't sound very royal.
I don't know if that's right. I want clarification on this. I think they were just making roast chicken, and I also think my buzzer is broken.
Well, that's what they all say.
That's what they're blaming the equipment. She's got tar on her bat. Is that what you're saying? All right, to the tape. Were they eating or making roast chicken?
Uh-oh.
It happened a few weeks ago. Just a standard, typical night for us.
It's a cozy night. It was what we're doing, just roasting chicken and having
trying to roast chicken.
Trying to roast a chicken. It was so sweet and natural and very romantic.
Okay, so our judges back in New York have weighed in and said no point awarded.
What, Evs? All right.
You say eating, they said roasting. The verb all important in this case.
Okay.
I'm channeling the judges in my ear.
I'm going to let it go this time.
The council has spoken.
This time.
All right, so it remains Tuesday. Our question 4. Big box stores across the United States are looking to cash in on a strange new holiday trend involving Christmas trees. There's something strange about these trees. What is it? Peter Ducey.
It works.
They're upside down.
That's too crazy. I don't believe you. Let's see the tape.
A new trend this holiday season, upside-down Christmas trees.
Very nice, very nice.
That's blasphemy.
I don't like that.
That is
weird,
flat out wrong, isn't it? Some of them go for $1,000. I have no idea
Or an accident waiting to happen.
No idea.
You don't want to walk underneath that thing.
Look at that. So the real question we answered is, does Peter Ducey's buzzer work?
And prove that it does.
I discovered it does.
It's like I found it under my upside-down Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, so actually we're moving into a potential momentous moment
I'm still counting this as 3-1.
Okay, so but the judges, whose opinion is definitive, believe it's 2-1. So if you get this right, you have to face a tiebreaker, which is pretty tough.
It's my only way to win.
Final question.
I'm going to the Supreme Court with this.
Big news out of the equity markets today. The Dow hitting a new record. Which record level did the Dow just close for the first time ever? Shannon Bream.
Over 24,000.
Over 24,000. To the tape we go.
He says it like that's not good.
24,000 and market in pencil. Another major milestone falls. 24,000 right now, a little more than a month after 23,000 fell. This is the 5th time this year we've had a milestone like this broken.
You would think I would be happy to hear that it reached 24,000, but in this case...
No, I'm waiting to see if over 24,000 qualifies, and it does.
Oh, yes!
Shannon Bream, that really was. I mean, you just...
I felt like I had to go for the kill tonight because I know how good he is.
You just marched through Deuceyland, which surrendered to you. Do you know what I mean?
I did not surrender!
He did not. He went down swinging, for the record.
Well, we're out. You've won so many mugs that tonight we're going to give you something different. We're going to give you...
She's been getting mugs to win?
She has. She's got a whole set of them. But tonight, we're going to give you a green beverage.
Oh, not to be displayed with
Not to be displayed on camera, right. But it's a green beverage in a green bottle.
I feel fizzy in my nose
it's
when
refreshing and delightful, and that is our gift to you. Shannon Bream, ladies and gentlemen, the champion of Final Exam. Good job, Peter.
Matches my
You do better than anyone else who's gone up against her. Don't miss another edition of Final Exam. That's next week. You can study the news all through the week. We'll be here.
If you're 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia that can take you out of the game for weeks, even if you're healthy. Pneumococcal pneumonia is a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that in severe cases can lead to hospitalization. It may hit quickly, without warning, causing you to miss out on the things you enjoy most. Prevnar 13 is not a treatment for pneumococcal pneumonia. It's a vaccine you can get to help protect against it. Prevnar 13 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 13 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. You should not receive Prevnar 13 if you have had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. If you have a weakened immune system, you may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most common side effects were pain, redness and swelling at the injection site, limited arm movement, fatigue, headache, muscle pain, joint pain, less appetite, vomiting, fever, chills, and rash. Help protect yourself against pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 13.
J. Paul Getty wasn't just the richest man in the world. He was the richest man in the history of the world.
Mr. Getty, your grandson's been kidnapped.
$17 million to release him.
I don't have any money.
On December 22nd.
How much would you pay to release your grandson?
Nothing. From director Ridley Scott.
I'm fighting an empire.
Inspired by true events.
He's my son, and I'll stop at nothing to bring him home.
No! All the money in the world. Rated R.
The morning of August 6th, I looked over at the big screen TV, and I saw breaking news: 30 Navy SEALs killed in a helicopter crash.
I looked over and saw my wife coming through the front door. And as soon as I turned and saw that Navy chaplain, I knew that he was dead.
He was the heart and soul of our family.
My dad, he was always the person to go help other people. He loved being a Navy SEAL. I was really proud of him and everything that he did.
Chris saw going in the Navy and becoming a Navy SEAL as a challenge in his life. That was the way Chris was. He enjoyed helping others.
Chris had included a handwritten note with his will asking for 100,000 people to donate to Wounded Warrior Project.
He wanted to help out, and ever since he's passed away, I've been trying to reach that goal.
You can help Chris' final wish come true with a donation to Wounded Warrior Project. Join the Advanced Guard monthly giving program, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket in memory of Chris and as a reminder of your commitment to wounded service members all across our nation.
I'm very proud of Chris. Through these donations, Chris's legacy of helping others will live on.
I saw the change in Rich when we moved into the new house, but having his parents over was enlightening.
You don't like my lasagna?
No, it's good.
Here, blow. Blow on it.
You see it, right?
Is there a draft in here? I'm telling you, it's so easy to get home insurance on Progressive.com.
Progressive can't save you from becoming your parents, but we can save you money when you bundle home and auto.
Sometimes a gift should be opened early, especially when it fits this good. Now at Men's Warehouse. Suits on sale for $199. Take 60% off sweaters and outerwear, plus it's buy one, get one free on select items. You're gonna like the way he looks.
When you have a cold, stuff happens. Shut down cold symptoms fast with maximum strength Alka-Seltzer Plus liquid gels.
Just a couple minutes ago, we were on the air. We learned something amazing about a guest we talked to last night on this show. Stephen LeDrew, he's a Canadian, joined us last night and debated the merits of inclusivity training for the LGBTTTIQQAAPP community. We had a lively disagreement, and that's great. The exchange of ideas is the heart of freedom and democracy, at least in America. Not so in Canada. LeDrew called us to inform us he has been suspended for 7 days without pay by CTV, that's Canada's largest private broadcaster. Officially, it's for going on a competing network, but LeDrew says his contract doesn't restrict that, and the decision to go on this network in particular is the real offense. He's learned the hard way how Canada views dissent. He's welcome back here anytime to tell us the details. Thanks for all of it. It's been a great hour. Sean's next.
All right, thanks, Tucker. Welcome to Hannity. A huge breaking news tonight, a Fox News alert. Stunning news tonight out of San Francisco. The illegal immigrant accused of killing Kate Steinle found not guilty. We know he had 7 prior felony convictions. He was now facing, get this, his 6th deportation. And believe it or not, his attorney is now blaming Donald Trump. We're going to explain how sanctuary city laws and policies killed Kate Steinle tonight. But first, the GOP is now on the verge of keeping one of their big campaign promises, a crucial tax reform vote in the Senate coming as early as tomorrow. This important piece of legislation, while not perfect, it will bring jobs back to America. It will slash rates for corporations, for middle-class Americans, increase take-home pay for millions of American men and women. But predictably, the obstructionist left is now playing class warfare politics, of course, with your paycheck. We'll explain in detail. Also breaking tonight, it is a nightmare over at NBC News. Their star anchor, Matt Lauer, fired after disturbing claims of sexual misconduct. Tonight, the question: what did NBC executives know? What did other hosts know? And when did they know it? It also appears the chaos over at the Peacock Network is really getting to liberal Joe Scarborough. He is now lashing out at President Trump like never before. We will show you his complete and total emotional national meltdown. Plus, new sexual misconduct allegations against Senator Grope himself, Al Franken. And there are growing calls for Democratic Congressman John Conyers to resign, including one of the biggest flip-flops in political history from Nancy Pelosi. All of that in tonight's important breaking news opening monologue. Our top story, sad breaking news tonight in the Kate Steinle murder case. The illegal immigrant, Garcia Zarate, who killed Kate Steinle on that pier in San Francisco, was acquitted just a short time ago of murder and manslaughter charges before he shot Steinle. Now, get this. He was released from a San Francisco jail despite a federal request that he be held for his 6th deportation. He already had 7 prior felony convictions. Let me tell you something the mainstream media will never tell you tonight. It was San Francisco's sanctuary city policies that killed Kate Steinle. They did not obey the law. They followed these ridiculous liberal policies, and because of their stupidity and their, quote, form of justice and caring more about the rights of illegal convicted felons, tonight, Kate Steinle is dead, and her family has received no justice. Here's the attorney for the illegal immigrant right after the verdict, taking a shot at the president? Really?
For those who might criticize this verdict, there are a number of people that have commented on this case in the last couple of years. The Attorney General of the United States, the President and Vice President of the United States. Let me just remind them that they are themselves under investigation by a special prosecutor in Washington, D.C., and they may themselves soon avail themselves of the presumption of innocence and the beyond a reasonable doubt standard. And so I would ask them to reflect on that before they comment or disparage the result in this case.
I want to go through some of the details tonight, and we pay very close attention here. Now, this family of the Steinle family has been waiting more than 2 years for this justice. Now, Kate Steinle, she was arm in arm with her father on that pier. Here you have a guy, homeless at the time, claimed he found the gun with a piece of cloth under his swivel chair at a pier. And then he says he picked it up. He accidentally fired it. It ricocheted and hit Kate Steinle in the back. Well, we know a lot more about Mr. Zaretti, and that is, in fact, that because he had little experience with his guns, is what his attorney was saying. But we did find out some other facts tonight. For example, he had been requested by the federal government that, in fact, he be handed over to federal authorities. They didn't do it. The reason they didn't do it is because of the sanctuary city laws that are in San Francisco. The same laws now that have been adopted by the governor of California, Jerry Brown, in this particular case. You look at his track record. You look at all of the deportations. You look at all of the felony convictions. Tonight, America has to ask a very important question. Tell us what good comes out of a sanctuary city law. People that never respected our laws and our sovereignty come into this country again and again and again and again and again, 6 times after being deported, after all those felonies, and an American young woman is killed with her father walking on a pier in San Francisco? We're going to have a lot more. Michelle Malkin joins us in a minute. Now, with a tax vote in the Senate looming, many are wondering tonight what tax reform could mean for their bottom line. Here are the statistics. As of now, this is important to every forgotten man and woman that voted in this election. This bill increases the minimum deduction to $12,000 for individuals, $24,000 for joint filers. It ends the individual mandate penalty under Obamacare. Thank goodness. It removes the alternative minimum tax. Additionally, the top marginal rate will be lowered. Not enough in my mind. 38.5%. Perhaps the most crucial part of this bill could be in the dramatic reduction in the corporate tax rates from one of the highest at 35% in the world to just 20%. And of course, the 10% tax on repatriation for multinational corporations, foreign cash. That means trillions potentially coming into this country and factories and manufacturing centers being built for the forgotten men and women in poverty, out of work. Now, the question is, what does this mean for you? Here are some examples the mainstream media will not show you. According to estimates, a middle-income family of 4 with around $70,000 in earnings, they can receive up to an estimated 60% tax cut. A single parent with around $40,000 in earnings will likely see at least a 50% reduction in their taxes. This is real money in hardworking Americans' pockets. No, the bill's not perfect. I would have preferred dramatic across-the-board cuts like in the Reagan era, but it is an important starting point, lowering the corporate rate, spurring economic growth for decades, hopefully, to come. You listen to the gloom and doom of Democrats, this bill will destroy the middle class and end America as we know it. Watch the petty display of predictable class warfare from earlier today.
It's astounding. If the president and Republicans in Congress set out to pass a middle-class tax cut, as they claim, if that's where they set out, this bill completely misses the mark.
They keep pushing it because it's a payoff to their big donors. If the Republicans ram this thing through, they're going to explode the debt. They're going to raise taxes on hardworking families.
If the deficit goes up by $1.4 trillion, I believe without any doubt that the Republican Party will come down here to the Senate and go to the House and say, my goodness, we have raised the deficit, and in order to deal with that, we have got to cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, nutrition, education, affordable housing, and every program that is important.
You've got to remember, for almost a decade, those same people you see bashing this tax reduction, this tax reform, are the same politicians that gave us the, quote, economic wisdom of Barack Obama. But, you know, what about these Democrats? What they're not going to tell you is this. What happened under the Obama economy? They'll never tell you how bad it is. We told you during the last election, under Obama, the slowest economic recovery from a recession since the 40s. 11 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty, a home ownership rate at its lowest in 51 years, 50 million Americans in poverty, and an increase, as I said, of 8 million. And get this, Obama, the only president in history of this country never to reach 3% GDP growth in the country. Meanwhile, since President Trump, was elected. Third quarter GDP just yesterday was revised upward 3.3%, the highest rate in 3 years. In October, 261,000 jobs were created, nearly 2 million now since President Trump was elected. Unemployment, a 17-year low. Consumer confidence, 17-year high. Median existing home prices for all housing types in October 2017 up 8.7% since January. The stock market today, another record, all-time record. Based on that alone, who do you trust? The Obama sycophants that gave us these failed policies? Their cohorts in the liberal media? Their friends on the left side of the aisle? They want this bill to fail when they failed all of us for 8 years? Or what about this president that has literally put confidence in the heart of American corporations by getting rid of Obama regulations and red tape? We now have seen what economic growth could mean and what an economic turnaround could be. This bill must pass. Our economic future depends on it. We're going to discuss the tax bill also later on the show and also bring you a vote. In fact, we'll update you any votes that happen in the Senate throughout the night. Now we turn our attention also to the ongoing nightmare that is NBC News today. It has been 1 day since Today's Show host Matt Lauer was abruptly fired. Now multiple women have come forward with shocking allegations of sexual misconduct and abuse against the longtime morning host. Some of these allegations include exposing himself to a staffer, demanding that she perform a sex act, giving an adult toy as a present along with a note suggesting that it be used in front of him, and one instance where Lauer summoned a married staffer to his office where he had sex with her until she passes out, and then Lauer reportedly took the woman to see a nurse. Earlier today, Matt Lauer has issued an apology with a caveat stating that some of the allegations are, quote, untrue or mischaracterized. Now, more damning tape also surfaced indicating that Lauer's misconduct was going on for a long while and may have been an open secret at the Peacock network. Take a look at this clip from Lauer's former co-host, Meredith Vieira, where she talks about his in-office bag of sex toys. Watch this.
I have to say, I went into your office once. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Snooping, and you had a huge bag of sex toys. And do you remember this?
Oh, wait a minute.
Yes, you did.
Wait a minute.
In your closet.
Wait a minute. Okay, can we explain what happened? Because you were there. We had a guest on the show who was what was she? A sex therapist. And so when she left, I think you did the segment, actually.
I didn't.
And when she left, she gave each of us a shopping bag of stuff.
I didn't get a bag of stuff.
True story.
Also this clip, Matt Lauer, an awkward interview with Anne Hathaway where he obsesses over a, quote, wardrobe malfunction. Let's take a look.
Anne Hathaway, good morning. Nice to see you.
Morning, Matt.
Seen a lot of you lately.
Sorry about that.
You were.
I'd be happy to stay home, but the film.
Let's just get it out of the way. You had a little more wardrobe malfunction the other night. What's the lesson learned from something like that, other than that you keep smiling, which you always do?
Well, it was obviously an unfortunate incident. Yeah, so let's get back to Les Mis.
One of the most creative turns of a question I have ever heard.
And earlier today, a reporter from Variety told CNN that Matt Lauer's behavior was well known by NBC employees. Take a look.
High-level executives were told about his behavior, both current and prior. Our sources say it wasn't even considered a secret. It was known by many employees at the Today Show, including some employees that have gone on television and said publicly we had no idea. According to our reporting, some of the other personalities and on-air personalities were aware of these allegations. According to our sources, the co-anchors were aware of some of these allegations. And so they're having trouble reckoning what some of these anchors said in private conversations versus what was said on TV yesterday.
Current anchors or former anchors?
Both. This isn't the end of the story, no. We believe that there will be more women coming forward, and we believe there will be more evidence about who knew what when that will come out in the reporting in the days to come.
Okay, what did the folks at NBC know? When did they know it? NBC News chairman Andy Lack is, quote, deeply saddened by this turn of events, but are Lauer's actions really a turn of events or just business as usual for the embattled former morning host? And then there's the current fake news CNN chief, Jeff Zucker. He served as the head of NBC News during many of Lauer's allegations of misconduct. Zucker's now saying that, quote, I didn't know this, Matt. So was Zucker in the dark or did he turn a blind eye? These allegations against Matt Lauer, they need to be investigated fully. But if true, those who knew about this and possibly enabled this behavior should be called out. Now, with allegations abounding, well, all of the stress at NBC News seems to be getting to crazy liberal Joe Scarborough, especially after Trump made this accusation in a tweet. So now that Matt Lauer is gone, when will the fake news practitioners at NBC be terminating the contract of Phil Griffin? He runs MSNBC, the conspiracy network. And will they terminate low ratings Joe Scarborough based on the unsolved mystery that took place in Florida years ago? Investigate. Well, earlier today, liberal Joe had a complete mental and emotional breakdown on national television. Watch.
We are facing a showdown with a nuclear power, and you have somebody inside the White House that the New York Daily News says is mentally unfit, that people close to him say is mentally unfit, that people close to him during the campaign told me had early stages of dementia. When is this the right time to talk about a mentally unstable president in the White House and a nuclear showdown with another unstable madman in North Korea? Everybody around Donald Trump knows he's not stable. Everybody around Donald Trump knows he's not stable now.
Kelly.
Everybody.
I know for a fact that's not true. By the way, now we have Dr. Liberal Joe. He's diagnosing on television in the morning. Now, instead of worrying about a nuclear holocaust with North Korea, maybe Liberal Joe, maybe he should worry about getting his emotions in check and not letting this obsessive, compulsive, nonstop hatred of President Trump send him over the edge. Joe, you need help. There's a lot more in terms of serious news that you should be covering. By the way, no one should worry that Liberal Joe and his allegations, by the way, and his friends in the Democratic Party, well, maybe, Joe, you should be asking questions about that, because the Senate Ethics Committee has now opened a preliminary inquiry into the groping allegations against Senator Al Franken. Now, this comes after yet another woman, an Army veteran, has come forward to accuse Franken of groping her during a USO tour in 2003. And while Franken faces even more allegations, his colleagues in the House, well, John Conyers in particular, he's now facing growing calls to resign after multiple sexual harassment allegations and accusations, including involving a taxpayer-funded settlement. Even his longtime defender, Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, she's miraculously now done a complete 180. Today, she's now calling for Conyers to step down. Watch this.
The allegations against Congressman Conyers, as we have learned more since Sunday, are serious, disappointing, and very credible. It's very sad. The brave women who came forward are owed justice. I pray for Congressman Conyers and his family and wish them well. However, Congressman Conyers should resign.
Remember, this comes less than a week after Nancy Pelosi defended Conyers, called him an icon, talked about due process. I guess now she suddenly remembered that she considers herself a champion for women's rights. And meanwhile, John Conyers, who is now hospitalized with stress-induced symptoms, apparently, is remaining defiant. He's still denying the allegations. Earlier today, his lawyer this man had 7 prior felony convictions, 4 involving narcotics. This was his facing of a 6th deportation at the time he shot and killed this innocent woman. This illegal immigrant said he accidentally killed her. He said it was an accident that the bullet ricocheted off the concrete and hit Kate Steinle. His lawyer says he found the gun just moments before he shot her. And it gets worse. He says his client had never fired a gun before and got scared after it went off. What did he do? He threw it off the pier, and they found it the next day. And as I said at the top of the show, sanctuary cities tonight, those that support them, they are to blame for the death of Kate Steinle. With Reaction Now, host of Michelle Malkin Investigates. Michelle Malkin, you look at all of this in detail, all of this here. This guy, 6 deportations he was facing. The federal government said to San Francisco, turn this guy over. and they refuse to obey the law.
Sean, my outrage is laden with melancholy because I have reported and investigated on so many of these cases over the last 25 years, and there has been so little, if any, accountability for people in the federal, state, and local government who have blood on their hands. Kate Steinle and her family never wanted or wished for the publicity that they've gotten, the pain that they've suffered, and the fact that they have no choice but to be front and center in the headlines as they suffer as a result of this verdict. This really is, I think, a damning indictment of so-called San Francisco values. Where is Nancy Pelosi tonight? Where has she been for the last 25 years? This is her city. And it is her open borders policies that have haunted so many innocent people and innocent lives in San Francisco. And it is the conversion of America into a sanctuary nation instead of a sovereign nation that has endangered us. And it is one of the primary reasons that President Trump was elected in the first place, because people made a choice after seeing this fork in the road, after seeing both political parties, Sean, both Republicans and their big business donors and Democrats and their identity politics grievance mongers who don't care about the rule of law in this country, and the collusion between those two things that have created sanctuary policies and a sanctuary nation that still exists to this day. When will the city and county sheriff in San Francisco and that mayor and the governor ever be held accountable for the deaths as a result of bloody open borders?
He spent much of his life, adult life, behind bars. 6 times, as I said, he was going to be taken out. He actually said once he had aimed at a sea animal. He said another time that it fired when he stepped on it. I've been a pistol marksman since I'm 11 years old. Guns do not go off by themselves. There can be accidental shootings, a sea animal, and then you change your story. Here, there's a word for that. That's called lying. That's called,
yes.
They're not even close to being the same story.
That's right. It strains credulity, the story that the defense attorney told. And let me get back to him in a moment with his comments after the verdict, which were absolutely disgusting, some of which you showed. But the idea that he simply happened upon this weapon and it was, oopsie, an accident, when there were witnesses that testified at the trial that they saw him twirling the gun around recklessly beforehand and then scurrying away when the police were looking for who it was that caused Kate Steinle to fall to the ground and be shot in the back when she was, as you said, walking arm in arm with her father on a happy day. The idea that this defense attorney now is politicizing this verdict and rubbing salt into the wounds of Kate Steinle's family, it's disgusting. And it shows you the mentality, I think, that probably infected much of the jury. Did you know, Sean, that any discussion of immigration policy and Jose Zarate's 5 prior deportations, the detainer that was ignored by city and county officials, the pending 6th deportation, the 7 felony convictions, including 4 narcotics convictions, none of that was allowed to be presented to the jury. No wonder they ended up with the verdict they did.
All right, Michelle Malkin, the federal government had requested, and thank you for your time tonight, requested that when he was released from the San Francisco jail, that he be handed over to the federal government. The sanctuary city laws prevented them from doing that. This was his 6th deportation. How do you get back in the country? Because of wide open borders. He spent 46 months in jail. The feds requested that he be handed over so he can be deported again. And in the process, an innocent woman is dead. Huge breaking news tonight. We have a lot to cover. We'll have a live report from San Francisco on Kate Steinle's killer being set free. More on the looming showdown on Capitol Hill. The latest out of NBC with Matt Lauer. Stay with us.
The Lincoln Wish List event is here. Sign and drive off in a new Lincoln with 0 down and a complimentary first month's payment.
I just saved thousands on my loan at LendingTree.com.
In less than a minute, I found out how much home I can afford.
I like how you shop for loans the same way you shop for flights online.
I didn't realize at LendingTree, you can save money on almost any sort of loan.
I consolidated my credit card debt with a personal loan.
I found a new credit card with 0% interest for 15 months. You just shop, compare, and save. And it's all free.
Go to LendingTree right now and start saving.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned.
Call or go online to order MyPillow Premium, and Mike will give you a second pillow absolutely free. Use the promo code on your screen to get 2 MyPillows for the price of 1. Don't delay. Order now.
With our 60-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Sleep well, America!
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Facing the North Korea threat, the real danger, and crucial strategy America needs to follow, John Garamendi shares first-hand insight on Fox News at Night.
The world has wasted me, and yet this world also made you, Mr. Versace. You're not better than me. We're the same. The only difference is that you got lucky.
The Assassination of Gianni Versace, Wednesday, January 17th on FX.
For me, the unknown is a seduction.
Oh, we're a little naughty, Neil. A little naughty.
Let's do this. No. Science! The wonder
of Star Talk.
The universe itself is a drug.
Wow, man, you blew my mind.
I don't know if you can handle it.
Star Talk. New episode Sunday nights at 11.
That's kind of dope, right? That's totally dope. Only on National Geographic.
Tonight, heartbreaking news for the family of Kate Steinle. The illegal immigrant responsible for Kate's death was found not guilty of murder, not guilty of involuntary manslaughter by a jury earlier tonight. Here on the ground in San Francisco with us with the very latest is Claudia Cowan. Claudia, one of the things that just stands out at me more than anything else, he said he was aiming at a sea animal. And then he claimed later that he stepped on it.
The defense certainly made much out of Mr. Zarate's conflicting statements that he made to the media, that he made to the press, and they took issue with some of the police translations as well. So the defense did a great job, Sean, picking apart this sort of muddled confession and these statements about shooting at sea lions and stepping on guns and so forth. But what a stunning end here to this case that many had considered a referendum on illegal immigration and sanctuary city policies. But at the end of the day, here in San Francisco, remember, this was a local murder case with mostly circumstantial evidence. And the fact that the defendant, a 45-year-old Jose Inez Garcia Zarate, was a multiple felon and deportee and who was protected by San Francisco's decision to refuse to comply with immigration officials, none of that was presented as evidence, and the jury was not allowed to consider any of that and not to consider any politics as well when they went in to deliberate. And they had deliberated about 30 hours when late this afternoon we got the word that they had reached a verdict and decided that Kate Steinle's death was in fact a tragic accident. And now we are hearing from Kate Steinle's family, Jim Steinle, saying that they are, quote, saddened and shocked. Kate's brother, Brad, saying, quote, I'm not surprised. The system failed Kate from the start of the chain of events. Why would the verdict in this case be any different? But again, outside court, the defense team said, given the physical and the circumstantial evidence here, the jury made the right decision. By the way, Sean, the jurors quickly left After the verdict was read, they had nothing to say to reporters. I should mention that Garcia Zarate was convicted of being a felon in possession of a firearm, and that conviction does carry a sentence of 16 months, 2 years, or 3 years. The judge will make that determination at a hearing probably next month. But again, what a stunning end to this case and a big victory for the San Francisco Public Defender's Office.
All right, Claudia, thank you. And the system did fail the Steinle family. Joining us now with more, Salem radio nationally syndicated host Larry Elder, former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino. The idea that he could say, Dan Bongino, that he was aiming, the words aiming at a sea animal, in this particular case a seal, on the piers, if anyone's been out in San Francisco, and then say he stepped on it. Could this firearm, can this firearm go off by stepping on it? I understand the trigger is actually one that you really have to pull.
You know, Sean, when I was a Secret Service agent, we used this firearm. This was now we had a different variation of the round. This was a 40 caliber round. We used a 357 SIG, but this was a Sig Sauer 40 caliber handgun. And the short answer for you is, hell no. It can't go off by stepping on it, and it's certainly not going to go off by fiddling with it in a shirt like this guy. So you actually have to put some force into depressing the trigger. Folks, this is a complete travesty of justice, this case. Clearly, San Francisco told the world tonight that justice isn't blind. In San Francisco, it's political, and this is a complete travesty and an outrage.
Larry, this was supposed to be this man's sixth deportation, sixth. And then you had a federal request in to the San Francisco jail where he was being held for 46 months. They totally ignored it. They ignored the law.
They did.
And then because our borders are so wide open, he just could come right back in all these times. It speaks volumes. I say that those sanctuary laws and our weak borders killed this poor woman.
Well, I agree with you 100%. Look, I didn't believe they were going to get a first-degree verdict or even a second-degree guilty verdict. I assumed it was going to be involuntary manslaughter. But the point is, he shouldn't have been here in the first place. He should have been deported. And by the way, California, the Bay Area has since changed their sanctuary city law. But if you were to apply that change to the same set of facts, he still would have been released and not deported. So California is still a sanctuary state. San Francisco is still a sanctuary city, and this person should not have been here in the first place, irrespective of the law and the facts of this particular case.
Yeah. Let me go, if I can, back to Dan Bongino and talk about this. Does this impact the DACA debate? Does this impact the need, the necessity? The president ran so hard on building a wall, building a wall. Now we have plans in the process of being made. In other words, blueprints for what the wall is going to be. Does this finally motivate Congress to secure the borders so that somebody can't come back 6 separate times?
You know, gosh, Sean, I really hope so. I mean, it's a troubling night. I mean, I feel for the family. This is just a really unbelievable human tragedy. But think about what happened. We have a guy in the country illegally 5 times. He admitted to being on drugs. He admitted to at least firing the weapon. He disputes how, right? He admits to running away. He's caught on video, Sean, running away on video. He then throws the gun into the San Francisco Bay, and then he gets in front of a San Francisco jury and is even acquitted, Sean, of involuntary manslaughter? I mean, how do you look the American people in the eye? I'm serious. If you're in that jury and say justice was done tonight to this woman who, by the way, Sean, her aorta was severed as a 40 caliber round went through her back and pierced her aorta. I mean, come on. If this doesn't change the debate, Larry, nothing will.
I agree with what Dan's saying here. A 7-time convicted felon, 6 deportation this was going to be. And I just ask everybody that's watching TV tonight, put yourself in the place of this young woman, or the parents, or the family, and the friends of this young woman that was, her life was gone, and we had every opportunity to make sure this convicted felon didn't come back in. But we didn't secure our borders, and the system failed by allowing him not to be handed over to the federal government that requested him based on what the law of the land is.
Right. Well, Sean, I would hope this would be a wake-up call, but this is California. This is the same state where Jamil Shaw Jr. was shot and killed by an illegal alien who shouldn't have been in the country. And after that happened, after Kate Steinle happened, that's when the governor signed the sanctuary state bill. So these things were known, and they did it anyway. This is California. This is also the same state where O.J. Simpson butchered two people, a mountain of evidence, and got away with it. Robert Shaw, same thing, and got away with it. You never know what's going to happen before a jury. After the O.J. Simpson case happened, Sean, I stopped trying to predict what's going to happen. This man should not have been in the country in the first place. There shouldn't have been a trial in the first place because he shouldn't have been here in the first place.
Thank you both for being with us. The system failed. This young woman failed her family.
It did. It absolutely
and I got
did.
our thoughts and prayers. I'd be devastated. Everybody should be devastated for them. Think if it was your family. When we come back, Tommy Lahren, Dana Lash, Jessica Tarlov weigh in on the outrageous verdict in San Francisco. Also, we get White House reaction from Ed Henry. Also, quick programming note tomorrow morning. Don't forget, watch Kellyanne Conway. She's on Fox and Friends reacting to this Steinle verdict. More on Hannity when we continue.
Proper etiquette is essential for every social occasion.
So the broom said, "Sorry, I'm late. I overswept."
Yes, even the awkward among us deserve some laughter. And while it's okay to nibble in public, a lady only dines in private.
Try the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. It gives you options based on your budget.
Uh-oh. Discussing finances is a big no-no.
What? I'm helping her save money.
Shh. Men are talking.
That's it. I'm out. Taking the meatballs.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry. I don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not.
What we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana.com, the better way to buy a car.
I'm Jillian, and I have a confession to make. I may have been a little tough in my past. Down! Up! Go! Go! But now I've found my bubbly side with SodaStream, the effortless way to stop addiction to sugary soda. Just slip in a bottle of regular tap water, a quick push, and in seconds, plain boring water is sparkling. Add a little fruit drop flavor, and boom, a sparkling treat you'll want to drink. Quit soda with SodaStream.
Available at GetSodaStream.com or at these fine retailers.
Hey, don't be sad that the SiriusXM free listening event is over. You can get your groove back with packages starting at $6.99 a month plus fees. Just visit SiriusXM.com/GetSXM to turn us back on and enjoy all that commercial-free music, plus sports, comedy, talk, news, and more. So visit SiriusXM.com/GetSXM or call for the latest, greatest offers to get you up and rocking in no time.
Brighten your holidays with a Lightkeeper Pro. The Lightkeeper Pro fixes light sets fast and easy. Indoor lights, outdoor lights, pre-lit Christmas trees. Don't throw your decorations away. Just pull the quick fix trigger to repair the #1 cause of light set failure. It fixes net lights, icicle lights. There's an audible voltage detector and more. Lightkeeper Pro and LED Keeper, available in stores now.
Dry mouth? Use Smart Mouth with Moisture Lock technology. It's the only dry mouth rinse that relieves bad breath for 12 hours with only one use.
Available at Walmart or most pharmacies and supermarkets.
At Beaches, everything's included. For everyone.
That's right, my generation. Yeah, all about a good time. Yeah, all about a good life. You won't believe it too.
Beaches All-Inclusive Resorts. Call 1-800-BEACHES.
Do you end up with drafts from ceiling to floor? Up to 42% of your heating bill flies out the door. The new insulating Twin Draft Guard Ultimate is 50% bigger and guaranteed to double seal windows and doors. There's no installation. Just slide Twin Draft Guard Ultimate under your door. The new microfleece fabric beads up and repels moisture. The double seal insulation technology gives it an airtight seal. With Twin Draft Guard Ultimate, nothing seeps through. Glides on wood, tile, even carpet. Get the new Twin Draft Guard Ultimate today. Available at most retailers.
Fox News alert: illegal immigrant Jose Garcia Zarate found not guilty in the 2015 shooting death of Kate Steinle. Now he was wanted for his 6th deportation. He shot Steinle on a pier in San Francisco before then running and tossing the gun into the bay, running from the scene of the crime. Earlier today, his lawyer sounded off on the president. This is outrageous. Watch this.
For those who might criticize this verdict, there are a number of people that have commented on this case in the last couple of years. The Attorney General of the United States, the President and Vice President of the United States. Let me just remind them that they are themselves under investigation by a special prosecutor in Washington, D.C., and they may themselves soon avail themselves of the presumption of innocence and the beyond a reasonable doubt standard. And so I would ask them to reflect on that before they comment or disparage the result in this case.
Joining us, radio talk show host with Radio America and author Dana Lash, also Fox News contributors Tommy Lahren, Jessica Turlov. Here's a fact. 6 times, this is going to be his 6th deportation. They wouldn't hand him over to the federal government, who had requested that they hand this man over. Did this sanctuary city law kill Kate Steinle?
Well, the illegal immigrant himself is the one who killed Kate Steinle. Certainly the sanctuary city policy allowed him to stay here, and I think that there will be a sea change in this. We saw it in Virginia with the race. Ralph Northam came out against sanctuary cities. I believe it was key in him winning that race.
Could you say without sanctuary cities, in all likelihood, Kate Steinle would be alive tonight?
Without the San Francisco sanctuary city policy and the way that people there, she was 32, 33 years old. Yes, I imagine she would be alive.
Borders are so porous that a man can sneak back in a 6th time or 7th time?
There are, but we know that we have a net outflow of the country.
So do you now want to build the border wall?
No, I will never want to build a border wall because it's ineffective. If you want to put more border agents there,
say that to Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi Netanyahu swears it has changed Israel. I've seen it up close.
Israel and the United States are very different. Our borders are different. Go with the gang of 8. I do not believe that. There are a number of Republicans who don't believe that. If you talk to Republican congressmen in Texas, they say that is not the case. You want to put more agents there, I'm fine with that.
Let me go to Tommy Lahren. Tommy, your thoughts?
Well, to answer Jessica's question there, physical barriers work, and that's why Democrats don't like them. But Democrats are going to be put in a very interesting situation now. They're going to have to choose between illegal immigrants and the American people. And I'm anxiously awaiting, the response of the Democratic Party, because I think it's going to really help us in 2020.
Dana, like you, I've been using firearms since I'm young. He said he was aiming this at a sea animal, and then it became I stepped on it, and then it did ricochet and hit Kate Steinle in the back. This particular Sig Sauer, it's not one that I fired. I was wondering if you have.
I have, and I thought what Dan Bongino said earlier was pretty spot on. I thought that the defense was moronic on this, and I realized that, Sean, that there are certain things that the jury saw that we, the people, didn't see. But I do find it interesting that the same people who want to look at ballistics and forensic reports as it concerns ballistics, they ignored that in the Mike Brown case. Look, and for the lawyer to also invoke Donald Trump and then falsely also say that there's there's an investigation that was based on Kremlin propaganda, which substantiated a FISA warrant, I thought was bizarre. This is moronic. People in California are not protected. The courts have said that there is no justice, no peace for the law-abiding. Those who break the law and enter illegally are given preference over law-abiding Americans. And California has now declared itself to be a dangerous state, Sean. California has decided that it wants to make it virtually impossible for law-abiding Americans to be able to choose their pro-choice right of self-defense, the feminist equalizer, a boomstick. But if you're an illegal alien and you are in that state being protected by it as a sanctuary state, well, then you're afforded all of the luxuries of American citizens, including rights that we have sacrificed for due process. And you're given a slap on the wrist that this wasn't even involuntary manslaughter is an affront to due process. It's an affront to justice and all the law-abiding citizens in California. This is shameful. The
system failed on so many different levels. If I'm President Trump tonight, I'm saying no federal dollars to any city, any state like California that says, and you just said to me, you agree. Sanctuary city law wasn't in existence, this girl would likely be alive tonight. So my question is, why should the federal government give 1 penny to any city that doesn't want to obey the laws of this country?
I think that all